I'm the SVP of product. Currently, my role is to help make sure that the models are having a successful experience. They are earning money. They are, having a great time while they are on Live Jasmine.
That's really interesting. So your role is basically to make sure that the models are completely A, comfortable, and B, set up for success.
Definitely. It's something that my team and I are always thinking about day in and day out to, try to understand what can we do to make their lives better? What can we do to make them more successful on the platform? I think in any two-sided marketplace app or business, I think you need to make sure that both sides are taken care of, right? So in our business, you have the model side and the member side, right? Without the models, the members would not be here. Without the members, the models would not be here, right? And so we certainly want to make sure that we dedicate, the right amount of energy on both sides to make that a very successful ecosystem.
Absolutely. One thing I've heard from the members and the models interviewing them is just that Jasmine puts in so much extra care on both sides than what they've experienced on other platforms. And so you're a big part, your team is a big part of that extra care, if you will, that they're not really finding on these other platforms.
Yeah, definitely. And it's something that I think my team and I are pretty proud of. We always want to make sure that our models, our broadcasters are taken care of. And again, it's not just the adult business that Docler is in with Live Jasmine, but also Oratum is another business, right, with psychics, right? So we take that equally as seriously.
I want to ask you, how did you find this job? How did you get started?
Mr. Gattyán had come out to Long Island. They said, would you want to meet him? I said, sure. Anytime, someone as successful as him is, in town and wants to meet you, you drop everything and you go sit down across the table from him. So, and I remember that day, I drove east about 2 hours. Long Island's very big. And, we sat down, we were brainstorming, and, we were coming up with some concepts around dating and those kinds of things. And it was really fun. And I got a really good vibe from that session. And so when, they wanted to offer me another new opportunity here and build my teams, build new products, I took them up on it that time.
Wow, that's incredible. So you essentially were really drawn in after you met the founder and you got a sense of his vision, his energy.
Absolutely. I think that's always so critical and crucial in organizations to really understand, what or who is really behind, the engine that really makes this place run. And so for me, I thought that was always a very interesting and important part of any kind of, job search that I was really going to do. But to me, I have a lot of fun in terms of what I do on a day-to-day basis. There are a lot of great people here, and it's something that I really enjoy.
Yeah, you bring up a really good point in that there's this saying, it's like the seed is the fruit that will be born, so it does start with that original energy of the founder. What are your intentions? What's the energy and the vision behind this? And from there, that's the fruit that you're going to get. So basically, you really liked what you found at the core of this company.
Yeah, absolutely. I figured that if the organization was similar to the man that I had sat down with and brainstormed, and I'm certainly hoping at that point in time that his, culture has permeated throughout the organization, that's something that gave me a pretty good signal about, what to expect.
What is it about your job and your role right now that you enjoy the most?
Yeah, so I have focused the last 15 years in online communities, and basically ensuring that people can connect around topics or connect with people that are of interest to them. What I find super interesting about the product and my role is that I can enable people to be who they want to be or who they aspire to be. And, my team plays an integral role in enabling all of that, right? So to me, I think that's one of the most fun aspects of my job.
You said something really interesting, that you are basically enabling people to be who they aspire to be. I feel like another way of saying that is you're helping people's dreams come true. Is that fair to say?
To an extent, I think you can say that, we're enabling people to realize their dreams for sure, especially in an online setting like this, where their fantasies can be played out, and they can certainly talk to someone that is listening to them and caring about them. And there are friendships that certainly form between members in the community, and you'll see, hey, so and so, how are you doing today? And like you see these kinds of dynamics form within these little rooms, which I think is always fun. And again, my background in powering online communities and online friendships is something that I think is always really, really fun to see when you see true, authentic relationships being built from people who may not even ever meet in person, right? But they built lasting relationships there.
It's interesting because all of the members I've interviewed have said so far, what initially brought them to Jasmine was that they were just, part of it was that they were so fed up with traditional social media because it's so negative, and the trolls and the comments, there's just too much, and they just wanted a different community. And of course, there's the flirty and sexual content there, but as you just mentioned, there's also a positive community that's able to shift and form.
I think at the end of the day, it's people forming relationships.
Right.
And that is the fundamental reason why a lot of products exist, is the fundamental reason why, Jasmine exists as it is. The relationships are key. The relationships are what's the most important part about the platform. Without the relationships, you have nothing.
Yeah. And I mean, that's almost, a fundamental need for human beings in general is connection. And I think that's why Jasmine has probably been so successful, because there's a team like your team who is committed to making sure that these relationships develop and play out authentically into the highest quality that you're able to assist in. And yeah, that human connection, it's a need. And especially coming out of a time like the pandemic, where many people were isolated, they had this outlet, which gave them something. And you've been playing a role in that, which leads me to my next question. What is it that you're most proud of about your job here?
Yeah, so when I first started here, the biggest thing that I was assigned was, launching a new product and also taking over a product that didn't really have a lot of love. So I was talking specifically about the Be My Fan product, which is a link sharing product, and something a little bit more than that, as well as Oranum, which is a psychic based platform. And so to me, that was the most fun that I've had here, right? Build something new and also do some course correction on a product that it doesn't necessarily have the focus of the business. And I don't blame them, because of, the juggernaut that is Live Jasmine as a product and as a market leader in where it is today. So building the teams around the Be My Fan product was an incredible experience. We got to work with all new technology, We got to do show and tells for the entire organization and say, listen, guys, this is possible. We can actually do these things that we've always wanted to. And as we continued with that product, we brought some of those learnings over to, the mothership of Live Jasmine, and certainly shared some knowledge there, so we can improve our processes over there. Also, on the Arash product itself, it's a really interesting experience and a really interesting product. That is another product where people are seeking answers, they're seeking relationship advice, but at the end of the day, they want to feel comfortable with talking to someone that's going to listen to them and, has a gift that can help them understand a little bit more about the problems that they're facing in their life.
Wow. I like how you stand up for the other products, Do you have any goals that you aspire to attain in the company that you can share with me?
For me, I want to continue to see growth within the products that I touch. I'm someone that really takes care of their products, and if a metric goes up or down, I take it very personally, and it's something that I have a lot of pride in doing, right? So I'd love to see all of our products become even larger, and certainly growing the teams that I have today are something that I'm really interested in doing as well. There are a lot of really smart, young, talented team members here. And my job as a leader here is to continue to develop their skill sets, continue to push them and encourage them to do their best.
Yeah, that's really important. Obviously working for any job comes with a very clear benefit, which is money. But what are some other benefits, or maybe let's say the biggest benefit outside of money that you have working for Docler?
I feel that Docler is an entrepreneurial environment. If you have an idea and you want to pitch it, you'll be heard. And it's something to me that I think is really important, because ideas are coming from all sorts of different places and directions. We each use different products in our life, in our daily lives, and how that might apply to our business and how we might want to augment our business and our business model to evolve it is really important, right? So, making that pitch of, hey, perhaps if we do X, Y, Z within the business, that could lift our registrations by 10 or 20%, right? So it's kind of democratized in a way. So it doesn't matter what my title is. It doesn't matter what anyone's title is within the organization. We have a democratized process in terms of implementing ideas and testing them and making sure that it's a success. So to me, that I think that's something that's really fun. And also the scale of the business, right? So when you're talking about this kind of scale, A/B tests are really fun, because with enough traffic, you'll reach your results very, very quickly. So to me, those are some of the things that I think are really, really fun aspects of being here.
Yeah, I really like what you said, that there's this entrepreneurial environment, and it's really true. When you're in a project, that project is kind of its own business. In many cases, it's literally its own business, and you do get to have this entrepreneurial spirit and be like, let's try this, and there is an openness and freedom there. And that's a really cool aspect of working for this company that I agree is not necessarily common at all.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and some organizations, they don't necessarily want to hear those kinds of things, but here I think we're certainly encouraged to push the envelope and push ourselves to be the best.
Absolutely. Is there anyone that you're working with on your team or throughout the company that really inspires you or that you admire or you really learned from?
There's just so many, right? I've got colleagues in every single department that I think are, top-notch players in terms of what they do. And I think that, I try to learn a little bit about what they do and what makes them the top of their game to help me as well. One of the things that I like to do about, my team specifically is I like to build them as a T, right? So we I encourage them to be knowledgeable about a number of different things across a number of different disciplines and go really deep in a few, right? So they can become a jack of all trades. But let's be clear, everyone knows that you can't be an absolute expert in everything, but they will be very knowledgeable in different areas that can help make them help inform them and inform others about making the right decision.
That's very cool. Do you have a favorite memory working for the company? Something that just stands out?
For me, I thought it was really great when I got to meet the team for the first time in Budapest and Luxembourg and all of that. Yeah, it was really great to meet the team in person. The offices are tremendous. And what I thought was really funny was that, I have a distinct advantage of being a remote employee, where I can make a 9:30 meeting and a 10 a.m. meeting, and I can jump from one meeting to the other in 5 seconds. Whereas some colleagues, it may take them 5 minutes and walk from this end of the building to the other end of the building.
Or more.
So I've got an amazing advantage on everybody. I just teleport around.
So true. You teleported here, didn't you?
That's right. That is my preferred way of traveling.
So is that one of your favorite aspects of your job, is knowing that you have a nice advantage over your colleagues?
That's right. Yeah, my favorite aspect here is really the people and the team that I get to work with on a day-to-day basis. I am constantly amazed by the friendliness of people and how much they're willing to go out of your way to help you understand XYZ and help you really understand what they're working on, right? So I think that's a really important aspect in any culture.
Absolutely. What would you say is the biggest lesson your employment here has taught you so far?
I think it's the demand for quality, right? I think that's actually, I think the demand for quality is the biggest lesson actually, and the most important thing that I would take away, from the business as well, right? I think anyone who works here does not forget that there is a extremely high demand for quality and perfection. And so to me, that those are things that I've kind of brought over in other aspects of my life, and I'll certainly hold that forever, because I know that it's certainly a high expectation here, and why not expect that from other aspects of your life as well.
That's a really great point. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think we can all agree with you on that.
Yeah.
You mentioned earlier when you were talking about the products, there's Be My Fan, there's Aranum, there's Live Jasmine. What, if you could sum into one word the thing that they all have in common and the value that they all provide to the world, what would it be?
I think it's a relationship driven organization, right? All of the products focus on one thing, and it's relationships. And that's something to me that, as someone who's, been in this industry for a very long time, focused on building relationships between people. All of our products enable that. All of our products, without that, they are nothing.
Yeah, relationships, which is connection that this company is essentially providing to the world.
Absolutely.
I do like to end the interviews with one final question, and it is, what is something you are the most grateful for in your life right now?
My family. I think without my family, I would never, accomplished anything really. And, my parents who left Iran when I was 6 months, they had a whole journey. We went through Germany. We had the typical American dream here. My dad was a cab driver, right? He drove a yellow taxi cab, right? And so, my parents have certainly evolved into their, professions in the medical field, but, without them, and without their hard work and what I've seen and witnessed personally, absolutely, I'm extremely thankful for what they have done for myself and my brother. Without them, I'd have none of this.
Wow. Yeah. So they were the foundation, and it sounds like you may have even gotten your work ethic from seeing them.
I think so. I think my work ethic has certainly been driven from them. When you grow up and you see your parents working multiple jobs, that leaves a lasting impact.
That's incredible. Thank you so much.
All righty.
You gave an awesome interview.
Well, thank you very much for being a very welcoming interviewer.
Thank you.
Couldn't have done it without you.